everybody, and welcome to the final episode, so sad, of Signed the Traitors. We are a Traitors US recap brought to you by Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. I am your host, Katie, and I'm here once again with my co-hosts, Kari and Javier. We've been on this journey through the Traitors together, and we are joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Isaiah. He joined us for our draft podcast, and he is back to recap the finale. Last two episodes with us. I know you have some thoughts. You've been sharing them all over Twitter, so I'm excited to be here and close out this coverage. What is everybody thinking? How is everyone today?
Excited to talk about some Traitors. It's been like I finished this show in like 2 days. So I'm really here to dive back in now that like we can talk about it. It's a spoiler-free zone now.
Yes, spoiler-free zone. We won't be spoiling any of the other Traitors series because we hope
Debatable
after you well, maybe Kari will. You never know. She's unpredictable. But Javier and I will not.
Nope.
And Isaiah will not as well because neither of them know what happens. But yeah, I hope everybody wants to just dive in and watch those two now that they've dipped their toe into the Traitors cinematic universe with the Traitors US. Isaiah, we haven't talked to you since the draft, so I'm curious. Was this show what you expected when we were talking about it to start and we were reviewing the cast? Like, did it meet your expectations? Did it exceed? Give me your 2-minute review.
So I thought it was fine. I think definitely I would be interested in watching the UK one now that I kind of see the concept of the idea. I think this US series was like the first season at least was kind of just like to dip your toe into like what the strategy is. But like it was cool. I have like my pros and cons with it, but like obviously the end result was dope. Now the way that we did get the end result, I do have some feelings. But I enjoyed it overall though. It was good.
Awesome. Well, Kari and Javier, what do you guys think? I mean, we'll get into the specifics, but let's close it out. Are you surprised where we ended up? No.
I feel like we've been saying it since episode 1 because it's just from the beginning. And I thought maybe they would pick up some steam. But yeah, it ended how I expected. The ending was great, like Isaiah said. But yeah, the journey there was arguably one of the most frustrating seasons of reality TV I've seen in a long time. I just kept going like I wish I could just say something, to these faithfuls. But
I have so many things I wish I could say. We got to get them on for some interviews and ask some tough questions.
That would be great.
So I am jealous of those of you who got to watch the US first and then are going to go watch the UK and Australia because you're going to get to watch 2 better shows than what you just watched. So it's only going to get better for you versus having this I said it on the draft podcast. I've said it almost every podcast, just like this feeling of I'm concerned that what we're going to get is not going to be as good, especially with like the 10 civilians, 10 celebrities casting and especially the UK season finale. Like I literally jumped on my chair cheering at one part of it, not even joking. Yeah. And I was sitting watching this finale just like bewildered at what I'm watching on my television. So I love the premise of the show. I enjoy the concept of it. I think that it has the potential to become better if the US takes it seriously. And so that's what I'm hoping, but very jealous of you that get to now go and watch 2 better versions of what you just saw.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this season was good. It was fun to watch. It kept me entertained, but not at all for the same reasons that the UK kept me entertained. It was just a very different, it was we've been just clowning on these people for 3 episodes of this podcast so far, if not more than 3, but really the last 3, it's just kind of what are we thinking? Well, let's just jump right into it. We'll jump into episode 9. It picks up at the murder. And every time Christian takes his hood off, he goes oh, and I'm this guy needs to just relax. First of all, he has the same annoying reaction every time he takes off his hood. And I'm you can't feel this way after every single banishment. To refresh, we just lost Rachel, and now Christian is hard pushing Stephanie to Suri, and to Ari. Suri, not super psyched about it, but Christian kind of wins out in the end. Obviously, Stephanie goes home. What did you guys think about this murder? Do you feel like this was the move?
Yeah, I think so first of all, I feel like Stephanie was unlike the second person other than this other person that we're going to talk about later on that was just like extremely loud and unapologetically wrong at the same time. And I think Stephanie had a lot of wrong reads, but with that being said, I think Stephanie knew how to talk when she needed to and like knew how to like kind of command like a conversation. So I think Steph definitely needed to go. She was hard sussing Christian, so I think this is good for Christian. I think Sari, obviously, at this point, it doesn't really matter, but I felt like Steph could have at least had an inkling at some point that maybe she was a traitor. But all in all, I don't think it really mattered to the end result. But I was okay with it.
Stephanie was like my performance in Chem 2 in college, where I genuinely tried and I had the second highest grade in the class. It was a 33. So I was getting one of every three things correct, just like Stephanie. Like she was figuring out one of three traitors, but we were still failing hard despite our best efforts, our genuine best efforts. So she's Chem 2 to me. That's what I saw in her.
It's a great comparison.
Thank you. I just thought of it actually as Isaiah was talking.
I personally was obviously very hurt because she was on my draft. And she was taken out by the other person on my draft, Christian, basically. But I do think from a game standpoint, from like the three faithfuls that played a game, Stephanie was in those three. I feel like Kyle, Stephanie, and maybe like I don't even know who the third would be at this point. So I feel like I agree. Like Stephanie was right, like less than 50% of the time, but more than 90% of the cast. Yeah. So I was very sad to see Stephanie go. And I do agree. I feel like she probably would have sussed out Sari eventually from all of the ones left. So I guess it was a good killing for Sari as well in the end. But I actually don't think it matters for Sari really, because she blinded these people too well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sari gave us a few confessionals where she was like, Stephanie is one of my closest allies, and I really want to keep her around. But I don't really know how that would have benefited, or like losing Stephanie, I don't know that it hurts Sari, and I also don't know that it benefits Sari to keep her around because she has these people wrapped around her finger anyway. So it's almost, I think Stephanie probably would have eventually been like, why aren't we talking about Sari? So I think it might have hurt her in the long run to keep Stephanie around. But oh well, rest in peace, Stephanie. She's gone. Ari and Sari at breakfast, they're the first two that come in and they kind of bond immediately. We get to see them kind of make a final two deal almost, saying like, we're going to ride it out to the end. It's me and you. I got you. You got me. Like Christian's liability. And when I was watching this, I was so excited to see this happen because I feel like Ari was actually a pretty good traitor, even though he had just come in, and we needed someone that would just back Sari 100%. And Christian is just such a wild card that I was like, this is all Sari needs to win this game, is to be lockstep with Ari.
So they kept trying to like push the narrative that like Christian was probably going to betray the traitors at the end. I never really got that read. I felt like he was just really bad at like keeping his mouth closed, like because I felt like he started to get it a little bit, and I was like, all right, Christian actually might be able to pull this off. But then when he did the whole fiasco with like, I got a note and all that, I'm like, all right, he's done. But no, I think that they were just kind of like using that as an excuse because I don't think Christian ever had any like thoughts of like betraying Suri or Ari at that. And I don't think he really wanted to do that to Cody either. I think that all three of them kind of like were like, I won't trust Christian. I think it was more so like, I don't want to work with Christian because I think that he would have split the money if there was an option for sure.
You're muted, Kari.
Sorry. He literally handed Quentin the blueprint to how they knew to go after Stephanie in the murder by saying like, well, Ari must have had, or Ari with the shield, he has to be a traitor. Like, I think he was ready to flip on them in a heartbeat. I just
think he's just like, he was just bad. Just like, it was a good move though, regardless, because the guy couldn't keep his mouth closed. But like, yeah, like I just think that he generally thought he was like the strategic mastermind, like doing some crazy stuff we've never seen before. And like I get like pushing any like sus off of you to like people think that like you're associated with someone. But like at this late in the game, like you don't do that. You know, like I felt like I was watching a bad match of Among Us for a second, you know. So yeah, he was bad, man.
Yeah, we did see him throw at the end of this episode. He did talk to Quentin and was like, maybe Ari. And then we saw him say it in front of Ari and say, like, maybe it's you two about Ari and Quentin. And then he was like, no one's mentioned Suri yet, which, again, I don't necessarily know. Isaiah, I could see what you mean about like maybe he wouldn't have flipped on them. I think he was just trying to push the suspicion off of him and wasn't necessarily trying to throw them under the bus, like, but he was throwing them under the bus in the process of that. I think at the beginning of the season we saw Christian just like come in super hot, and then there was just like mess in the middle where he was probably still coming in super hot. It just like everybody else was coming in hotter, and now that like Rachel's gone and Cody's gone and some of the other people are gone, Stephanie's gone now Christian's back in the spotlight of just being a disaster, where he was probably always a disaster. It's just like maybe there were some other worse disasters in the middle.
I feel like Isaiah kind of said basically what I was saying like last episode, that yeah, Christian started off very hot-headed, and then around like episode 5 or 6 I was like, wait, yeah, he might make it to the end actually. Like that's when I was like, okay, my stock in Christian is going up again. But then yeah, the whole like I was recruited thing ruined it for him. But I don't think that he would have turned on the traitors either. I actually agree. I just think he just loves to talk, and he just doesn't know how to shut up. And I think in his brain he was at that point when he said Suri and Ari, like towards the end of this episode before the roundtable, I think he knew that he was like a target. So maybe at that point he was trying to maybe take the target away from himself a little bit. But I don't think that, especially when we get to the roundtable discussion, I don't think Christian was ever really gonna backstab Suri and Ari at the end of it. So
yeah, I agree. I think it was just like his mouth was moving really fast and his brain was not caught up to what his mouth was saying.
I just think it's because he didn't have the opportunity. Like there weren't the numbers behind it. With like Cody, like we had said, if him and Suri don't vote towards Cody and they put their vote somewhere else, there's a chance that like that vote was close enough that it flips to somebody, where it's not that Christian wouldn't flip. It's just that at that time, there's no one like Suri and Ari don't have enough suspicion on them to get, I mean, like, you know, the stargazed Andy and Quentin to flip on either of them at that moment, or any moment really.
I cannot wait to talk about Andy and Quentin. We'll keep talking about this breakfast really quickly. Kate is shocked she's still here despite all of her best efforts. And Ari's bringing up the letter again with Christian. And Kate brings up a valid point of like, where's the letter? Show me the letter, Christian. And it just feels like the tides are turning against Christian here. I put a question in my note, and I just want to ask you guys. I saw Christian walk in the room and he's giving everybody all these hugs. And I have a really serious question. What do you guys think that Christian smells like?
So
Fuck off.
Soap. I wouldn't have said soap. I don't think I would say soap.
Axe. She smells like Axe.
crime.
I mean,
I
he
like
lives in a
legit-
van.
I don't have an answer for this, I don't think.
Okay. All right. The question popped into my head while I was watching, and I just had to pose it to you guys.
What do
to see
you
if you had
think
any
he
thoughts.
smells like?
Maybe like patchouli.
What is that?
You would know it if you smelled it. I don't know how to
Yeah,
describe it, but
I'm
you would know
dead.
it.
How do you
smelled it.
spell that?
Patchouli? Maybe.
It's a plant?
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
what
a
it is.
very-
I just know what it smells
very
like, and it's a
strong
pungent
smell.
smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And probably a mix of patchouli and like Axe, and maybe some soap in there too. Who knows?
it's an aromatic flowering plant of the mint family.
Yeah, it's a very strong scent.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah. I
very
learned something
specific
today.
smell.
Yeah, that is very specific.
I feel like people who live in a van, no shade to people who live in vans, but I feel like that's like the general like vibe is that they all smell like patchouli. I don't know. Just a thought. Anyway, so Quentin comes in. The question is between like, is it going to be Quentin? Is it going to be Stephanie? Quentin walks in. So bye, Stephanie. Rest in peace to you. You've been murdered. We see Stephanie in her confessional, and she does clock Suri at the end. She's like, you know, maybe it's even Suri. It's probably the people I expect the least. But she was pretty spot on with Christian. I think the issue with Stephanie is that she's just a little too late. Like with Cody, she figured out Cody like when everybody else had already started suspecting Cody, and Kyle had already planted the Cody seed. Like she didn't figure that out on her own. She figured it out by Kyle. And then Christian just buried himself. So, I mean, that's pretty easy to figure out that it was him. So, you know, she was upset. She was like, I'm crying because I'm angry. And this really pisses me off. They're assholes. I'm curious, like, what was your reaction to her saying that they're assholes for murdering her? Are they assholes?
So I mean, no. Like, what if she was the traitor, then she would do the same thing,
Right.
But and she just got too vocal. But I felt in, you know, I forget where else I heard this, but I felt the same about Rachel. I felt like Rachel and Stephanie were in their like confessional moments, just like saying as many names of who they think is a traitor. So if one
Probably.
sticks, like that will be in the show, because like her reads in these confessionals were not lining up to like her reads in the ceremonies like at all. But I mean, like, let's be honest. One person won this whole show, so in that case, Cherie's the only asshole here, and everyone else flopped. Like, let's be honest.
I would arguably say everyone else is an asshole. And Suri's the only one that's not.
Yeah.
After breakfast, Andy says, and I noted this, they said that at least 2 of y'all are traitors. And then they're all operating off the assumption that 2 people left are traitors. So I want to keep this in mind for what happens in the finale, because if everybody there thinks that 2 people left are traitors and they vote Christian out in this episode, and then they vote Kate out in the next episode and she's a faithful, why are we all voting green? I'm just saying. I'm just asking the question. The math is not mathing for me. You only got 1 traitor out and you're voting to end the game when you're all under the assumption that there's 2 traitors left. Doesn't quite make sense, but we'll talk about that more when we get there. But Christian is questioning them. He's like, are you for sure there's 2? And Andy's like, yeah, there's got to be. And then we also hear Quentin talking to Kate about there being 2 traitors. And Ari and Kate, oh, maybe it's Ari and Kate. And Kate is saying that there's 2 traitors left. And the Faithfuls are just like fully believing that there's 2 traitors left, which at the end of the game the way the end of the game plays out doesn't make sense for what they're all saying here. So I just wanted to call attention to that because I was confused when I was rewatching this, knowing how it was all going to play out.
I'm glad you said that, because when I made original posts and I was like, why, well, jumping ahead, but why did they make a certain decision at the end if they all thought that there was 2? And everyone was like, no, production told them there would be like somewhere between 2 to 5, so there's no way of knowing. I was like they seemed like they thought there was 2. So
they were clearly all saying that there had to be at least 2 traitors left. That's what they were all, that's how they were all discussing this in this episode. So Isaiah, I'm with you 100%. Like, the end game didn't make sense here for the way that they were speaking in this episode. We never hear really more about it, but it just is strange that they were so convinced that there were 2, and then we know what happens later.
Could you imagine only having 2 traitors, 1 traitor for every 10 people? That just doesn't even seem like a fair ratio.
Right. And it's not like, well, okay, we'll talk about it when we get to the end, but I have a lot of thoughts on this. So Kate is pushing Christian. It's really Christian or Kate that's going to go tonight. Our boy Quentin staying strong on Kate, really has been ride or die to get Kate out this whole time. But Kate is pushing Christian, and Andy's kind of in between. Andy's kind of saying, like, you know, Christian's really the only one that his attitude has never changed. He's never nervous. He never feels like he has a nervous energy. He's just saying that he's nervous. And my gut is saying Kate, but like something about Christian is off. And like I said, I feel like the tides are turning on Christian.
I think that was that line, like I wrote that down because I feel like up until this point in the game, everyone's premise to take someone out is the moment your game changes a little bit. So the fact that Christian has not changed at all makes you suspicious of him. It just doesn't really add up with the rest of the way they've been playing the game. So that like really annoyed me. It's like, okay, if you want to target Christian for being an idiot, fine. But don't say you're targeting Christian because his demeanor hasn't changed. Because if anything, Christian should be trying not to change his demeanor, because the way you have all been targeting people is when they change their demeanor. So I just didn't like Andy's reasoning there. It was like, come on, just say it's because he literally made a terrible move, you know?
Right.
I kind of understand the point of they've never seemed afraid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he consistently was never afraid, which then kind of makes sense to me why they think that he's a traitor for that reason. But I do, like, I've been saying that his behavior has been consistent. That's like what he has going for him. But someone finally pointing out, like, okay, he's consistently like high on life or whatever, but never showing an ounce of fear. I guess that makes some sense when you think of it that way, because everyone else has been showing like, I hope I'm not murdered. I hope that, like these thoughts of maybe leaving the game. So I get it. But I also understand what you're saying, Javier. Like, don't use that as the excuse, but the fear part kind of makes sense to me.
I felt like this cast in the faithful side consistently kept having correct reads based off of like things that they've seen, that they've heard, their intuitions. But I felt like a big fault of them, and you see it multiple times this season, is that instead of them going with their gut instinct and how they feel, they were kind of highly prioritizing like voting patterns, which kind of stopped them from really doing what they really wanted to do, which is like, oh, I think Kate is a traitor. I think Christian's a traitor. It's like they kept putting it off because they're like, well, maybe not because they voted this way instead of this way, so they can't be a traitor. And I think that actually helped Christian a lot, because since he and Suri and Cody were like never voting the same, even though from the rip people are like, Christian's probably a traitor, they're like, oh, he's voting with us, he voted out Cody, he did this and that. No way. So I kind of wish this cast really kind of like went on their gut instinct a lot more than they initially did.
I feel like I'm confused by the fact that nobody clocked that Christian and Suri always voted correctly for the traitors, or like shifted the conversation toward, like, at least with Cody, Suri, I mean, Cody was already kind of the topic of conversation at that roundtable, but like Suri kind of made a very bold statement at that table saying like, I think Kate is faithful, and I don't remember who else, Rachel is a faithful. So I'm voting for Cody, where it's like, well, Suri never really like said Cody's name before, and now Christian's also voting for Cody, and that, I don't know, it just feels like, same with Christian, it's like Suri made another broad statement at this roundtable tonight against Christian, and it just felt like, why is no one clocking that like Suri is very making these strong statements about who these people are, and both times she voted correctly. I don't know. No one else at this table has voted correctly for the traitors. I mean, they have, but like not with their like gut instinct, like it seemed like Suri was doing. But that's where I feel like maybe your gut instinct should kind of kick in a little bit. But I mean, we're happy. It all worked out in the end.
She gave credit to everybody else, though. That was the thing. She was like, I'm going with the people that I'm playing this game with. And she never took like the leadership position of, I think it's this person, and if you play with me, you'll vote with me. She always was very cryptic and was saying, there's people I trust, there's people I'm playing with, I'm voting where they're voting.
Yeah, it seemed to me like Suri was very selective about her words, and I feel like I would hope that if I were there, I can't say that I definitely would, none of us really know how we would play, but I feel like I would just kind of be like, Suri's been like on it. That's a little suspicious, but whatever, we'll see. Christian does start pushing Ari's name here a little bit to Quentin, and this kicks off a little something with Quentin, which is the first time I think in this whole season that Quentin has had a correct read. Because as soon as Christian starts saying Ari, he goes into the room to Suri and Andy and is like, what if it's Christian? But, I don't know. It might be Christian. And that's when Andy kind of gives this, like, he's the only person who's never been nervous about anything. And it's not fear. It's just talking about being nervous. I have a question, because in this episode, and I don't know, maybe Kari, if you know this or if they said it, maybe I missed it, but in this episode specifically, they put so much emphasis on having to vote a traitor out correctly, because they were like, this is it, we need this. And realistically, the numbers would have been 3 against 2. Yeah. We're at the point. Yeah. What would the game mechanics have been if they didn't vote out Christian and they voted out Kate here and there were 3 traitors?
We don't know, but I'm left to assume that they would just keep the traitor's identity secret to those faithful, let the faithful be picked off, and then once it gets, I guess, like, they would let a faithful be picked off, I think, at Final 5, and then you'd have the 4, and you would have the fire. And then I guess it would depend on what the traitors do, because if they choose to banish someone, they could technically, you could get down to, what, Final 2 and still choose to banish? Like, what would they do then?
I don't know.
Wrestle?
I wonder the same. Yeah, like what if you only have 2 people and they don't agree?
Yeah.
Trial by fire.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because this episode specifically, they just put so much emphasis on like this is the most important roundtable yet. Like we have to get a traitor. It's so important we get a traitor, and we'll talk about it when we get to the roundtable. But Kate makes a pretty, I think, good statement about not voting her tonight and maybe voting her tomorrow if they're so convinced, because this is a really important vote. So it seems like maybe they were told something about like you guys have to get a traitor tonight, or the game ends, or something. Like I don't know, but it just seemed like something.
Well, that's the other reason it doesn't make sense why they think there's only 2 traitors. If at Final 5 they keep saying like, if we don't get someone tonight, it's over with. Because even if there is only 1 traitor left, like it would still be 3-1.
Right.
So why again?
It's a little ambiguous. It's a little confusing.
Do you mean it's confusing how we didn't even get to like that logic, if with the fact that they were pushing that there's 2 traitors, but
yeah, like where did that come
demanding,
from?
I don't know.
I have a lot of questions about that when we get down to the fire, but we'll talk about it. So we go to the mission. I don't think we really need to say too much about this mission. It's kind of fun to watch, but it's just like they're in this like museum looking room. There are laser lights. They have to crawl through the lasers. If part of their body touches the laser, then they have to go back or they have to go to the end. They're out and they lose a minute worth of time. And each kind of like museum artifact that's in that room or piece of art or whatever it is worth a specific amount of money. This is like a fun one to watch, but it took up half the episode.
Yeah.
And like, there's no chance to even like, there's no armory. There's no shield here. There's no stakes. It's pointless to watch. It's fun, it's entertaining, but it's pointless to watch.
This was very like Big Brother Vito vibes, but I don't know. By like the end of this season, I think that's one of my cons with this is that the challenges kind of just feel like very filler. There's not much stakes other than money. I'm like, okay, like I don't really care if they get the money, to be honest. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I did watch this one, but the last one, I definitely fast forwarded. I'm not going to lie, but...
Oh, mine was flopped. I did not care in the slightest about people dodging lasers for 30 minutes, where I thought the last one was a little bit more interesting, and I watched all of it. Mostly because...
I'm going to make you explain it because I was multitasking the first time I watched it, and then tonight when I took my notes again, I fast forwarded through it. Because it was maybe 30 minutes of the episode.
Yeah,
maybe that might be an exaggeration, but anything else to say about this mission? Visually cool. I'm sure it was fun to participate in, but
nope.
Right. Great.
Nada.
Great. So after the mission, Ari, Andy, and Christian are in the car talking about how Kate has totally changed her tune and that she's like pleasant to be around now. And Andy's like, well, it's too little too late. Sorry, Kate, like sucks. And then Sari, Quentin, and Kate are in the other car talking about Christian and his recruitment scheme. And then Quentin again in the front seat is like, no matter what happens, we have to get a traitor tonight. And I'm like, why? Somebody tell me why. Why do you guys need to get a traitor tonight? I want to know. I don't know. But we never find out why they feel this way. But Quentin does say he's okay with voting Kate tonight. And I did write LMAO because he voted Kate maybe every single time so far, almost.
I'll say one thing about Quentin. He might have been terrible at this game, but the man was consistent.
Yes,
I think I literally,
consistent.
I think he voted. I want to do a tally. I need to go back and count it because he must have voted almost every episode for Kate, which is insane to me. So
I think he voted for Kate almost every time except for when he voted for Kyle. And then he voted for Rachel just because he didn't like the way Rachel was acting at the roundtable. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a petty vote.
Yeah, which honestly was the best Quentin moment of the whole
season. It was the best Quentin moment. He gave us the best line there.
Christian is sitting in one of the rooms with Ari and Quentin, and Christian goes, well, either you or you could be traitors. Like, if it's not Kate, it's one of you two. It's either you, Ari, or you. And Ari's like, oh, well, like maybe it's you. And then it's like almost like they're pointing fingers back at each other. And I'm like, this is like such a mess, these people. And then we get a confessional from Christian just being like, Ari's coming into our team and like this is our empire. So like we're calling the shots here, bro. And I'm like, except I don't think you are though. Like you're
Shut
really
up, Regina
not.
George. That's how I felt about that moment.
Yeah.
Like, you can't sit with us. I guess that wasn't Regina, but I don't know. He got pushed in front of a bus at the end of it, so I guess maybe
He
he
sure did.
is Regina.
Mess.
I
sure
mean,
did.
but then not to spoil the final episode, that's kind of how Suri felt also about Ari. That's basically why Suri did what she did. He was like,
Yeah.
he just joined our team. I'm not giving this man my money, which
Yeah.
I agree. That's how I would be that level of petty that Suri was. I'd be like, bro, you joined 2 episodes ago. You don't know what the heck we've been struggling with.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And we'll definitely talk about that when we get there. I agree with that. But Christian also says something about Suri here and is like, Suri's a gamer. And then Ari just goes immediately and finds Suri outside. And we see another like bonding moment of them. And Suri is kind of like, when I'm with you, I'm with you. Like, I'm with you 100%. And they're like, let's just do it. Like, the two of us together. Like, I know I'm a traitor, but you could trust me. Like, we're going to the end. We got this. And again, they solidify, like, we're doing this. And this is where it seems like, okay, they've finally agreed. Like, they're voting for Christian tonight. That's what it seems like.
In my idea canon, like once this dude says like, okay, I got a message to be a traitor, but I didn't take it. If you're not dead the next morning, then I'm like 100% sure that you're a traitor at that point. And I also feel like production probably told a lot of these people to like give alternate plans just in case, like make it seem like you're not voting Christian, because it felt like dead set everyone was voting Christian like the moment they woke up this day. So I get they were trying to make this episode interesting, but like it was like such a no-brainer that this guy was screwed.
Yeah, I mean, he fumbled so hard in the episode before this and you're so right, Isaiah, like the fact that the traitors didn't murder him for if he wasn't a traitor for saying that at the table, like, come on, dude. Clearly you're a traitor. But we get to, oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was in this small comment, but this followed the same trend as everyone who's gotten voted out. Like the first name at the start of the episode, no matter what you do, you will get voted out. So the moment, I think Kate in the breakfast was like, we got to get out Christian. And that's just how it works in this game. The moment you say one name, that's the name that goes home. So Christian was really.
If you're looking for dynamic roundtables, visit the country of Australia. Just saying.
I'm ready. I'm going to start it this weekend, I think.
I sure will. Don't worry.
Christian's just like walking around, putting like antlers on his head, just being like he's getting the dodo edit, which I'm like, this guy deserves the dodo edit for sure. Like he sucks. But we do get a clip of Andy and Quentin talking to each other. And Andy's like, it's not Suri. Suri wouldn't do us like that. Anyone else I'd be okay with, but like that would really hurt me if Suri like did us like that. And I was like, oh, this is tragic. This is just so tragic. Suri has these people misted. It's wild.
That's literally what I wrote. Like Suri's mist is too strong because these people cannot see beyond it.
Yeah. Thank God we at least have like these things we can laugh at. Otherwise, this would just be a very boring end game.
I mean, let's stop.
I don't know. Yeah. So we get to the round table. Christian, we get a kind of ridiculous confessional from Christian, and he's saying that it's easy for him. He's a veteran as a traitor. Like, I got this. And I'm like, man, they're really setting this guy up to fall hard. It's pretty embarrassing. But Suri actually kicks it off. And this is really the first time that they tell us about the fire of truth. I didn't know that this is what it was named, but this is the first time Alan Cumming gives us the fire of truth. He doesn't tell us what it is. He just says like, we're going to the fire of truth after, one more round table after this, and then you'll come to the fire of truth. He also changes the prize pot. This is maybe the second or third time he did this season, and I hated this. Like, I get it's an annoying number to say $181,800, but like they didn't earn $182,000. So like, why? This has bothered me throughout the whole season, and I have plenty to say about this when we get to the finale. Plenty to say about this when we get to the finale. Mm-hmm. But Suri kicks it off and puts the focus on Kate. And then Kate says, if you haven't voted for me yet, do you really want to gamble on this one? And she put such like a emphasis again on this one. It says, if you get it wrong, the game is over for you. And I'm like, what? Somebody please tell me why the game is over for you. Like, I really don't get it. I don't get it. It's just, if you're not sure of me, then vote for me tomorrow, because personally I think it's Christian. And I think this is good gameplay from Kate here, but I just wish we knew why they were all thinking this way.
Your guess is better than mine. This is the issue that I've had, not with Kate, but with the house. There's been sus on Kate the entire season, and they just willingly just didn't vote her. And, you know, if it wasn't for other people making dumb decisions, or just like, I don't know, delusional antics, it's just like, if you think someone is a traitor, you vote them in immediately. Like, I don't care if there's a sob story or any of that, because unintentionally these people gave the Traitors like a get out of jail free ticket for the entire season, that they just used her as a shield and pushed her all the way to the finale, which is wild. And I'm just really confused why they just kept letting her slide by. Like, yes, I think people finally got it. They were like, oh, she's not a traitor. But I can see why some people would think she's a traitor, since all these votes were incorrect. And I would be like, all right, let's just get her out at this point. Like, instead of voting, I think her name was Shelby, for example. Like, that was a perfect round to vote Kate. I mean, Rachel, she needed to go at that point. But like, even the round before Shelby, well, they got Cody out, so that's cap. But the round before that, that's also a good time to get Kate out. It's just like, there's so many chances to get Kate out if you really think that she's a traitor. And it's just like, the faithful kept like not doing what they wanted to do because of, I don't even know, like it does. I'm sitting here, I'm still confused why they did a lot of their decisions. Like, I don't really understand the voting patterns whatsoever. Like, I don't know.
Welcome to our last 12 hours of podcasting.
Yeah, literally. We've been saying vote out Kate since like episode 3. We were like, just vote her out. Like, if you guys are so like gung-ho about this, just do it, even if she's not a traitor. You know, we fully agree with you, Isaiah.
To be fair, I was highly advocating for her to be the recruited traitor just halfway through the season.
Yeah, we've talked about it. I agree. They did it to Michael in episode 3 or whatever that was, where they're like, okay, it's a distraction at this point. We're going to continue having this conversation. We just have to get Michael out. Why Kate and Rachel? They should have been like, all right, today it's Kate and then it's Rachel. And then we're completely free and clear, and we can focus on what the actual goal is. But they just let Kate stay there as this complete distraction the whole season. And really, that was like the smoke and mirrors that the Traitors needed to just like operate. However,
it turns to politicking at that point then, right? Because it's like, I mean, some people think there's a snake in the grass in Lion. So like, you know, Cerie's not going to let that fly if Rachel's gone. And also, it's good for Cirie if there's a shield in front of her. So it's like, you can't let that happen. So, I mean, maybe that's what it was. But, yeah.
It's also their own fault that Kate was a distraction. Because if you thought about things with logic from the literal first murder, and even, I guess, like the second banishment when Brandy was gone, it just made no sense that Kate was a traitor. Like, Kate wasn't the distraction.
Everybody else was.
Yeah, the hype they created around her it wasn't Kate. And like, she was begging to be banished or murdered. Yeah. Like, she tried to vote for herself. She wasn't the distraction. And it just was all around bad gameplay. All around. Because I also don't think like you should be going for distractions, because that's not the name of the game. If it was, it would be called the Distractions. Instead, you're supposed to go after the Traitors. So it's
I just feel like if there's somebody that's causing such disarray the entire season that you're there, vote them out, because it's just going to remain a conversation the entire time until that person's gone. And you're just going to keep getting like all of the faithfuls or whoever, you know, I mean, they don't know who each other are, but there's a significantly higher amount of faithfuls than there are traitors. They should have had the votes to get Kate out a long time ago. And if they didn't, then move on and just be like, okay, then Kate's out of the discussion for now. We'll revisit it later, but we have to focus and try and get a traitor out. But Rachel
Kyle
pushing Kate
tried.
consistently. Yeah, no, I know. And then they were like, "Oh no, Kyle, he's deflecting off Kate, so then he
Javier's,
must be the
like,
traitor."
doing the same
Bro.
stuff.
Literally, Kari, literally. By the end of this, that's when we'll be preaching again. Kyle.
Yeah.
The moment she started throwing money out, I would have been like, Kate's gotta go. I don't even care. like, what are y'all doing?
Well, Isaiah, it didn't matter. Don't worry, it didn't matter. And we'll talk
Yeah.
about it when we get to the finale. But at the end, I mean, nothing too groundbreaking happens at this round table. It's a little back and forth. It's between Kate and Christian. Kate pushes Christian. Christian pushes Kate. Christian's voted out. We end on a cliffhanger with Andy's vote, but Christian's voted out at the beginning of the next episode.
Hold on. So this is another. I do have something to say about this roundtable. Another
Yeah.
time where I feel like if I were in the game, I would hope that this would raise suspicion for me for Suri. So Suri started the roundtable basically saying Kate is suspect, right? And then by the end of the roundtable, when Suri's voting, she says the most cryptic line about Kate, like
Yeah.
you are something about like I've lived so long and I know it in my heart that you're
Yes.
not a traitor. I was like, wait, what? How does no one take that as sus either? You know, like that was the moment for me when I was like, Suri, hold on. And for some reason, no one saw that as like a sus statement to like first blame Kate and then by the end say in your gut, you know, basically that's Kate's not a traitor. So I thought that was a very sus move on Suri's part.
It was weird. She said she feels the ring of truth when Kate says
Yes,
she's a
that
faithful.
is
I wrote it
what-
down.
Which-
And I was like,
is
what
that
the
from
fuck is
The
a ring of
Hobbit?
truth? I don't know. I'm like, what is the ring of truth? I have no idea. But you're
Yeah.
right, Javier. She was like, when you lived as long as me. And I'm like, what is she saying right now? I do not understand.
Like
It was
that's a red
weird.
flag to me. I'm like, girl,
I
Yeah, it was
thought
weird.
her first statement about Kate was actually intentional in giving Kate the opportunity to like show that she's faithful, and it felt like to me almost premeditated. Like I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna be like, Kate, tell us why. And I thought that's how I interpreted that first statement. So then her like Hobbit statement after made more sense to me because it's like I gave you this opportunity to state to us, and then like I did that because I've always thought that you're faithful. Which then, I mean, if anything, the sus thing is in the next round table when she votes for Kate. But
Oh, yeah.
apparently her ring
Yeah.
of truth like got melted over 24 hours. We boiled that gold down to sell it at the pawn shop or something. I'm not sure.
I mean,
Good
Andy
point.
and Quentin bought it. They're whatever Suri sold, they were buying. So
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are signs. There are signs they were just not picked up on.
wait, can I also make one more
Yeah,
point?
of course.
Sorry.
Please.
At this roundtable, also Christian didn't need to go. Quentin voted Kate out. Christian voted Kate out. If Ari and Suri wanted Christian to stay, he could have stayed, and then they would have had 3 votes. And you know what I'm saying? So this was definitely a selfish move on Ari and Suri's part. Like they didn't need to get Christian out. They could have easily gotten Kate out. Then all 3 of them could have gone. Then it would have been 3v2. You know. So I mean,
think
for
they
Suri,
didn't
it was-
trust him.
Yeah,
to
I think
not
they
go
just thought
with
he was a
the
liability.
to go with the 2 faithful and vote Ari or Suri out in the next roundtable. Then
So
you know what I mean. So like,
I think
'cause
he would have
think-
taken Ari out. I don't think he would have taken
Yeah.
Suri out. I think he probably would have voted either Ari or
Yeah.
Christian. Those are the names he was pushing.
But I
Yeah,
think
like he didn't
Suri
have to go,
changed
but I
it.
think they didn't trust him to not flip. And I mean, of anybody who would understand votes flipping in that place, it's Suri. So
Yeah.
I could understand the paranoia about it as well.
But
So-
Suri has, sorry, last thing I'm gonna say, Suri has Andy and Quentin like wrapped around her fingers. Like she knows that no matter what, I don't know if I'm Suri, I'm like, no matter what I do, you know?
Yeah.
So
She
I don't
should have
know.
known she would have been fine no matter what
Yeah,
because they were
you
not
know?
voting for her.
No, I was saying that it kind of goes back to the format question then, because what happens if they do outnumber them? Because people coming into this were saying that like if we get this wrong, then like the game is over. But then it's kind of weird because then by that logic, I think I'm not sure if Alan said this, but I think they were basically saying like this could potentially be your last night to get this correct. So I mean, in that case, if Ari is team, let's split the money, then like, aren't you incentivized not to vote Christian out? Because then at that point, what are you guys worried about? Like, there has to be something there because they kept talking about they were worried about Christian stealing something, but like, how is he going to steal something if like the game is theoretically over if it's just all traitors in the game? So maybe they were privy to something that we just weren't aware of. But
You're
I'm just
probably
like,
right.
yeah, because the way they spoke about these rounds. And now that we're talking about it, I'm just like, all right, so maybe there was a certain format in case that happened that like they could still steal or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the problem is that it's just unclear. And that's why I wrote the question of like, what are these game mechanics? Why do they think that there are 2 traitors left based on nothing? Why are they so gung-ho about getting somebody out tonight that's a traitor? Like for Kate to say, if you're unsure of me, vote tomorrow because this is like the most important. And I'm like, but why? Why is it so important? I don't really understand.
So this is just my head canon.
Okay.
What if they were like, all right, all the traitors are left in the game? What if they were like, all right, so you guys all have to vote to either share or steal? If you all share, then you all keep it. But whoever says steal, those people get money. And they're like, oh, he's probably going to try to take the money. Can't share it. And Sari was probably like, nah, this is all, obviously.
That's actually more similar to the Australian version has a different end game than the UK and US version. And so there is that like friend foe type of thing where they decide in that. So it's a little different. It has like some similarities to the UK US one as well, but it kind of aligns with what you're saying. So I get your point.
Got it.
Interesting.
Again, go watch Australia.
I'm going to start it. So Christian leaves. He's a traitor. Bye, Christian. Quentin, completely shocked. This guy, I do not understand. Like, there's what, 5 people left? 6 people. How are you shocked? Just literally before you were like, there's definitely at least 2. This guy is completely suspicious. You were also pushing his name. And then he's just like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I don't know. Christian is wild. Quentin is wild. But Christian, we get a confessional of him and he's crying. And I'm like, this is the most bullshit confessional of anybody I've ever seen.
That too.
I wrote, he said he feels horrible and feels bad for the lies he told. And I wrote, yeah, right. He felt a relief when he said it, that he was that he was a traitor. I said, yeah, right. And then he said, but I feel more bad that he couldn't get the money. And I said, okay, this is the only true thing that this man has said so far. He's crying about not getting the money. He hasn't felt any inch of remorse this whole time. And even Sari in the last episode was like, he's salivating over murdering Stephanie. And like, it's just not sitting right with me.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote that like, Christian, I literally wrote, girl, bye. Like, you were so excited all game to get people out. You came in, took your hood off and were like a little kid in a toy store. Like, bro, and now you're going to give me these fake tears? Like,
yeah.
I don't believe it.
I don't care. Listen, every person cried in this season, so I'm just like, all right.
Watch the UK, Isaiah. If you want to see tears, watch the UK. This was nothing compared to that. So we have 24 hours left in the castle to identify any traitors, according to Alan. This is the last night in the castle. There's no murders. Andy says they're so happy that they got Christian out because their intuition is restored. And I'm like, oh, Andy, that intuition. I don't know. I just don't know if it has been restored. Maybe unplug it and plug it back in one more time because like it's just not working for you. It's just not.
I just don't know if Andy knows what intuition is.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they do. There's a bagpipes party outside. And then like something hits Quentin and he's like, I've always been on the wrong side of the vote and people are going to be suspicious of me. So he's just like, I just want to say like, I'm not a traitor. Just so you guys know, like, I know you probably think I am, but like, I'm not. And like, I don't know what Quentin is thinking here. I don't know if this is a good move or it's a bad move, but Kate is like, oh, Quentin's the president of the Traitors, which I'm like, you know what? Your reads are not great either, Kate. You got one right, Christian. That's it. Because Kate's not immune from the bad reads here.
Yeah.
No. Christian was served her on a platter, so that's why Kate got that one right.
Exactly. Ari was excited to send Quentin home tomorrow, the next day. And he said, but so much changes in a day that you can't celebrate too early. And I was like, this is foreshadowing if I've ever heard foreshadowing here.
In retrospect, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So the format, we have mission tomorrow, and then we have the final banishment, and then we're going right post banishment to the fire of truth. And the game ends when they believe there are no more traitors left. This is Alan kind of like, they're all sitting around and he's giving them like the final update. And everyone's really excited. And then Kate's like, oh, the mission tomorrow. Great. I wish I was murdered. That's pretty much it. What did you guys think of this bagpipes party? It was kind of lame.
As someone who is 50% Scottish, do not insult my heritage on this podcast, Kate. Katie.
Oh,
not
me?
Kate.
What did I do?
No, you.
I said this
You said
party
it was
was
lame.
lame.
With bagpipes?
What does this party have to do with your heritage?
The bagpipes. Those are Scottish.
Oh, please.
My parents had those at their wedding. I'm not even
See,
joking.
that probably wasn't lame, but this party was lame. There's like 7 people there. Fergus is like a character, and I'm just like, I can't with Fergus. Like, I can't. This is too much for me.
I enjoyed the bagpipes, actually, to be
Okay,
honest.
well, I'm not shading the bagpipes themselves. It's just the party didn't seem very fun.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Then I'll
No,
take
the bagpipes
back
were fine.
my scorn.
Yeah. For some reason, Ari and Sari go to the murder turret tonight, even though there's no murders, and they're just like, okay, like we'll recap the game really quick. And then again, Sari says, once we lock it in, I'm not changing. No matter what I say at the round table, once we lock it in, I'm not going to change. And I'm like, ooh.
How do you believe
Yikes.
that? That's all I was thinking. How do you believe that? That
No,
to me is
Ari ate
another
it
red
right up.
flag. I don't know. That to me was another red flag about Ari. I'd be like, why are you trying to like act so trustworthy right now, last minute, you know?
Yeah, poor Ari he didn't know what he was getting into, clearly, with Sari. I mean, he's just not built for this. Although, I think he did a pretty decent job throughout this game. He was probably, I know we talked about this last time, but I think him and Kyle were the two that surprised me positively the most. I think he was a pretty decent trader for the short period.
I don't like how he went out. That really got me heated. But
I was
yeah.
like, I'll save my comments.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll
yes.
see. Yeah,
Up
I'll
until
talk more
that.
about-
Up until
yeah.
that. The whole end. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sari tells us they agree that they're going to banish Quentin tomorrow. That's the plan. They're all in all the way. They're going to the end together. Quentin is the vote. That's it. Sari, though, tells us that it has not been enough time to build trust with Ari. And she doesn't know. Is he going to turn against her? Is he not? Like, the only thing that she knows is that your allies can and will stab you in the back in this game. So the confessionals here are really painting a picture for us. And I'm kind of annoyed by it because it just gives the whole thing. I mean, like, we pretty much knew exactly what was going to happen by the end. I don't know what you guys thought about it the first time. I don't know if you've rewatched, but the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, it's very clear what's going to happen here.
I've said it the whole time. They don't trust the intelligence of their viewers. And that's a frustrating component to watching this show, in that, like, if I'm going to drag my ass over to Peacock, your streaming service, not just like turn on channel 4 on NBC and watch this, I clearly am seeking out a show about social strategy. Do not paint me a picture by numbers to like show me what's happening here. Let me be surprised. Let me figure it out as well. And so I agree. I was frustrated, especially because it's like, I might as well just looked at the spoilers everybody was posting with no hashtags on Sunday.
Yeah.
They basically did that for me.
Well, the other thing, and I alluded to this when we podcasted on Tuesday, but I didn't want to say anything because you guys weren't done watching. But if you pay attention to what they're wearing in their confessionals, the whole show is given away because their outfits, like, there are so many confessionals of Kate wearing clothes that she hadn't worn yet on the show, and then she had on in later episodes. I was like, okay, so Kate's not going anywhere. Like, she hasn't worn that yet. It's clear. She had the red thing on that she came to the breakfast in the 2 episodes before, and I'm like, well, that's an outfit I haven't seen before. So clearly
Katie,
she doesn't
why
get
did
murdered
you just
tonight.
do that?
Listen, I'm
Because-
sorry.
See, it's people like you who ruined Survivor for me, because now I'm gonna have to start looking at that when I watch the Traitors season 2 now.
I don't think it was the case in season 2. Hopefully they fix it, and I'm sorry,
I
but
don't
it
want
was
to have
just
to read
so
edit,
obvious.
in edits. I'm about to
I'm
start
not an
reading,
edgic person,
I'm
but
gonna
like,
start reading their edits now. I'm gonna be like, oh, let me see what clothes they're wearing this day.
No, just enjoy it. Don't do that to yourself.
it just stood out to me. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's just like maybe the clothes that they were wearing that just stood out to me, but specifically for Kate and some Sari, I was like, we haven't seen her in that outfit yet. We haven't seen her in that blue sweater yet. So obviously, I mean, Sari, we knew she wasn't going anywhere. But Kate, there was always a question, is she going to go tonight or is she not? And I'm like, well, we haven't seen this yet. So clearly she's not going tonight. And it was just very obvious.
Speaking of Suri outfits, did you notice that she had on like the TikTok leggings that make your ass look good? It was those black ones with the holes. I was just saying, I noticed and I was like, oh, she's got those like booty popping leggings. All right, go
Black
off,
one with the
Suri.
holes. No, I
They're
don't
like
know.
holes is probably not the best way. They have like a layer over it that looks like there's kind of like holes in the top layer, but it's leggings. And they were like very big on TikTok because everyone's like they put them on and their boyfriend's there and it's like, oh my god, what'd you do to your ass? It looks so good, type of thing. But Suri was wearing them. I didn't notice because of her ass. I noticed because of the design of the leggings.
Is
Anyway,
this in the finale? I'll have to go.
it's when she wore the blue sweater.
All right. No, I didn't notice that, but I did notice the blue sweater.
So she's got those TikTok leggings.
All right, Suri up on the TikTok trends. Final breakfast. The only thing I really wrote here is that Quentin says he went to bed strategizing, and I just wrote like, what do you guys think that looks like? Quentin going to bed strategizing. Like, what is he strategizing? What do you think he's saying to himself at night?
Playing tic-tac-toe against himself.
Yeah, like
And losing.
Yeah, like
And
he's
losing somehow.
losing to himself.
Oh.
Rough stuff. But we do get a confessional of Ari saying like, I'm completely paranoid, but I just like feel so good having the support of Suri. And I'm like, yeah, this is it for my guy Ari here. We do get a clip of Quentin asking if he and Ari have loyalty to each other, and Ari says he's suspicious, and Quentin's like, look at my record, just look at my record. And I'm like, yeah, that shouldn't like inspire confidence in anyone because you have been wrong this entire time. So if you were a traitor, I mean, all signs point to him kind of being a traitor, right? Because he's just been so off. It almost feels like he's like sabotaging on purpose, even though he's clearly not to us.
Have we gotten to the confessional where he's like, man, this game is actually really hard? And when he said that, I was like, we know. We've been watching you, buddy.
Yeah, it's been harder for us, I feel like, than for
Yeah,
you.
very.
You've been convinced this whole time, and we've been screaming at our TV, so. Then we also get Kate talking to Andy. Andy is convinced that Quentin is not a traitor. Still convinced that the traitor is Kate. And the only person Andy is 100% convinced on is Suri being a faithful.
Suri.
And I just wrote in my notes, oh my God. Like, I just don't know how at this point.
Thank you.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Thank you.
It's at this point of the show, is there any possible way that Suri is not the winner?
No.
No.
Nope.
I was just kind of waiting for the selection process after, like the finale. I was just like, all right, like it was just like I said. I fast forwarded the challenge.
Yeah.
I was just like, let's just get there at this point. Like, what am I waiting for?
Well, I'm glad you brought up the challenge because here we are. They get on a helicopter. The mission, I don't know. Kari, do you want to explain the mission?
Yeah, so
It's a little convoluted, and you know I'm not good at this.
Isaiah
Isaiah took out his pillow and he's going to sleep.
Extra, read all about it.
So we'll make this short. Basically, they asked for 2 volunteers. What made it seem like they were going to swim out to these 2 buoys to get numbers for a code that would unlock something on shore, but they come to find out that they actually have to jump from a helicopter into the water and swim over to these buoys. So Kate and Ari had volunteered for that. And then the other 3 have to, once they get the code and unlock the box, they get a map and a radio, and they follow the map to go to 3 different places that have 3 different values of money to collect. But what they don't know is why they have this radio, and they have the radio because once Kate and Ari get to shore, they are given a box with a riddle, and if they answer the riddle, they can use that answer to unlock this box, and then they get a map that shows where the rest of the money, all like 43,000 or 48,000, something like that, that they missed out on from all the other challenges, that they could get to bring the final pot to $250,000.
Thank you. I'm laughing at Javier rolling his eyes here. Did you just like fall asleep with your eyes open at the same period that I felt? Not you, Kari. It's just the challenge. It's not you. You explained it perfectly.
I was gonna say, I think I did like a pretty good job of explaining
You
it in a
did.
short
You
amount
did.
of time.
You did a great job.
I was a teacher for 11 years, so
Yeah.
And
it shows.
Kari,
Impressive.
And it shows.
Kari carried that right there. Okay?
Yes.
oh,
yes.
good
Can
one,
someone play the
Isaiah.
bwomp bwomp bwomp? Come on.
Yeah, just
Behavior Karen, one of you must have a control.
I think it was Isaiah actually coming in clutch with the sound clip. Okay, so I want to talk about this prize money situation. I don't want to say anything about the mission. I don't care about it. It was a lot, just boats going all over the place, people reading riddles. It's like a combination of everything we've already seen throughout the season. Unless you guys have stuff you want to say about it, we could talk about it. But I want to talk about this prize pot. Alan says going into the mission, the prize pot is $182,000, but he's a fair man. So I'm giving you a chance to win all the money that you didn't win this whole time. So my question to you is, why did we sit through all of those challenges for the last 9 episodes when the final episode gives them the opportunity to win $250,000? Just give them one challenge that's worth $250,000. Why are you putting us through this?
Filler. Okay.
It rendered the whole thing of Kate throwing out money meaningless. All of it has been meaningless up until this point because they're just giving them the money.
Filler.
I will say that it was nice that it was Kate figuring out the riddle to allow them to have the opportunity to get the rest of the money. It was nice, like full circle.
Yeah.
Because, like Kate's here being the mole and now she's the hero.
We did get some character growth from Kate throughout the last few episodes. But I just am I'm irritated because the whole time we've been watching this, we've been saying that the challenges feel like they have no stakes. The way that they introduced the shield was very lackluster, especially in the church episode where they played against each other as teams for no reason whatsoever because they're all adding money to the same prize pot. And then come to find out that the prize pot actually is meaningless this entire time and it all hinges on this one challenge. Granted, I guess they could have not completed it, but part of me feels like even if they didn't, they would have still given them. It's like they invested in these fake gold coins to somehow equal up to $250,000. So no matter what they were going to do, they're like, nope, it's going to be $250,000 because we don't have to take these gold coins off this pile. It was just like I don't know. It was just a mess. This was a mess.
Because listen, if there's no challenges, what is Alan going to do all day? Okay, that sponsorship money needs to go somewhere, not just to rent out the castle. So we need to do something, and that's what it was. A bunch of filler challenges. But I mean, to be fair, I think it played effect. At least the first 2 rounds, I'll give it that. With the country guy saying, "Oh,
that's true.
Way I'll throw you up," and Reza and the other guy getting into like a little spiel, but it was. I think it was just to fill up time because like they're not going to just show people sitting around twiddling their thumbs all day, right? Like I
think I would rather see maybe not a challenge or a mission, but like something going on the grounds of the castle that would give them maybe not a clue, but like something cryptic that would help them figure out a traitor. I just feel like the game is so heavily weighted toward the traitors, especially when you have faithfuls like this, that like maybe something else where we could have gotten something else to go on to give them help strategizing would have been better than adding money to the prize pot. Because it's kind of like, it just doesn't feel like there's much there.
I was talking to a friend today about this, actually. I was saying it would have been a little bit cooler if every challenge was individual and it would result in that person getting a shield that won it every single round. I think that's more cohesive, but what do I know? Like
no, I like that. Some kind of immunity or something.
It's something, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we were saying a few episodes ago, because it's like I was just like very like these challenges don't mean anything, and then they introduced the shield like halfway through. Like why didn't they? If anything, the shield would have been more impactful. I feel towards the beginning where you had more people to vote out, more people to kill. So it just felt like, yeah, give me something from these challenges. And the armory thing I think should have also been introduced earlier instead of later. So.
I think so too. And in the UK, they used the armory and the shield as a way to kind of strategize in game a little bit because the groups that went into the armory were were larger in some cases. There would be like 5 or 6 people, so they would be able to kind of meet. And then there are times where it's like, well, this person was in the armory with us, so like it couldn't be this, but it was just like it gave them some kind of like deduction tactic. Where this, it's like we had it 3 times. It was 3 people each time. Ari won it every time. Then he ended up being a traitor for 2 of the times that he won it. So it's like this is the most pointless thing. This is the most pointless thing.
The shield should have gave him away the 3rd time though.
Yeah.
Like it should have. And I don't know.
The moment he started getting,
sorry. I heard somewhere that they actually had introduced the shield earlier.
I heard that too.
That it might have been in our chat actually during one of the episodes. I think it actually was Adrian that might have said it. That like they introduced it earlier, but for whatever reason it was edited out. So I haven't gotten to the point of having enough free time to really do my like post show deep dives of like behind the scenes stuff and getting all that. That is in my near future, probably like Monday through Wednesday. But I think Adrian said that in one of our chats during one of the podcasts.
Yes, I think you're right.
I know you guys don't care, and I know you guys don't care about Mr. Calafiore, but him and Derek and Tiffany actually do have coverage for this too, and I think he's starting to break down a lot of the behind the scenes things. So keep looking out for that.
I'm interested in. I care about that. That I care about.
I care about. I don't want it coming from him.
Can it just be Tiffany?
Y'all are so messy.
Well, I'll listen to Cody talk about it. I mean, he was there. He experienced it.
He was there. I just like, I don't know. I feel like he's going to have a bias towards it in hindsight. You know, like he was a great sport in the moment. I just can't imagine that he hasn't developed some sort of.
Well, one cool thing he did say was that someone was a last second replacement for this season, actually. I don't remember who, though.
I think that Corey Wharton from The Challenge was originally supposed to be on the show as well. I think we heard that there was 1 civilian and 1 celebrity that were replaced at the last minute. And Muse, actually shout out to Muse. Sorry, Muse. It was them that typed that. Muse. Stephanie said on a video that they introduced it earlier and even said the name of who won it for. Well, who won it?
Yeah, tell us. Also, not having Corey on this was definitely a disservice to the faithfuls, because at least the civilian faithfuls, because he would have definitely been as bad as some of them. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. Cody won the first shield.
I'm dead.
No, but I was gonna say the same thing, Kari.
I don't even know
that,
if you know who he is, Isaiah, but dude,
I'm familiar with the name.
Not the brightest.
No, definitely not. I was actually thinking through watching this that I would like to see some challenge people cast on this. Like, I am not really a Johnny Bananas fan, but it could be interesting to see him on the show, or Wes. I would like to see Wes on the show. I think there could be some good, like, old school challenge people that would be interesting to watch and see how they would play this.
But give me 20. Don't give me 10.
No, I don't
give
want...
me all
Can we
of
have
them.
like fantasy castings at the end of the podcast?
Oh,
yeah.
I already
Let's do it.
sent a DM to someone that I want on this show.
I'm dead.
So Katie, and I included Katie on it as well. So I've literally said, I beg of you to please be on this show.
Yes. All right. Let's finish, and then we'll cover the draft. We'll cover our fantasy casts. I think that's a fun idea. Probably more fun than maybe this final roundtable. So, is there much to talk about at this final roundtable? Any standout moments to you guys?
Nope.
Yeah, not really. Right.
Oh, actually, yeah.
Well, I guess
I
there's
kind of said it before. Sari flipping on Kate should have been assigned to everyone, because literally less than 24 hours earlier, she's saying, I know that you are faithful, and then you're voting her out the next night. And absolutely, like, how does that not register with Quentin and Andy? That was the first of many confusing, they jam-packed so many god-awful like blindings or just misunderstand. I don't know what you want to call these, but I was just like, wait, what? We're going to let her get away with this? No one's going to say a word about it? I know they had to go like right out to the thing, but I would have been throwing red flames in to be like, wait a second.
Yeah. Like, I have questions. I just have questions.
I mean, I'm going to ricochet it back to Ari too. It's like, She just betrayed her other two original partners. What makes you feel any special?
Exactly.
Well, I have some words from Ari. So, okay, we'll give a quick. Kate gets voted out here, and the plan between Ari and Suri coming into this roundtable were to both vote out Quentin together and then go to the end together. But Suri flips and votes out Kate instead of Quentin, and Kate ends up leaving. She reveals that she's a faithful. Everybody's shocked, as they have been every time throughout this whole show. But Ari just looks gutted sitting at this table. Like his face, it's like he loses all the color in his face. It looks like he's just like, feels like he's just been completely stabbed in the back. And then we go right outside and he throws a green. Okay, before we talk about it, the end game mechanic here for anybody who just needs a very quick explanation is that everybody goes out to this fire of truth or whatever it's called. And Alan gives them the choice to pick a green thing, I don't know what it is, powder to throw in the fire to say like, I want to end the game. I don't think that there are any traitors here. I'm ready to end it. No more banishments. If you do feel like there's a traitor left in the game, then you pick a red bag of powder or whatever and you throw that in the fire, and then that leads to another vote to a banishment. All it takes is one person to throw a red thing to trigger another banishment. Ari goes first, and I was so convinced that Ari was gonna put a red bag in that thing. And when I saw that it was green, I was shocked, because how do you get stabbed in the back at a round table like that and not immediately try and throw some suspicion on Suri?
Yeah.
At least fight for
shocked.
your life. They're not going to vote her out, but like try.
Yeah. I was shocked when he didn't. Like Isaiah said, she cut two of them, the two other traitors before you. Why wouldn't she cut you? She lied to you about. She said she was going to vote out Quentin. She votes out Kate. Like, she's clearly not on your side, Ari. You know, so like, bro, get it together.
So I really, I'm kind of frustrated because this was a bold move from Suri. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Quentin also would have been on board for something like this. Cool. Andy, I'm not so sure about because I feel like although Andy was very loyal to those two, she was also feeling Ari. And I'm just curious that if Ari at least tried to show some pushback or at least force Suri to say a name, what are we doing here? Because you can't just straight up say, Suri, you're a traitor. Like, swear, you have to swear and say that you can't admit when someone's a traitor. You could throw suspicion. What is Ari doing here? Does he pretend he's a faithful and say, I'm not voting anybody? I think this is ridiculous. Or is he going to be like, all right, what about you, Suri? Like, I feel like if Ari doesn't throw in the towel and like pretends to still be a faithful and I feel like we're all faithful. Let's not be like so impulsive. Like, let's keep it together. I feel like there's a chance Quentin and Andy like stick with it. Maybe. I don't know. Like, I feel like if Suri at least had some pushback, it wouldn't have been so straightforward as he probably thought it was, because we haven't seen Suri really face adversity this season. I don't know how she handles it. But he really just threw in a towel so quickly, and it was just really disappointing for me.
Yeah, and this was only like the point one of when he throws in the towel. This is like the beginning of it. And it's almost like she literally just went against the plan, and all he would have to do is say, listen, we were just talking yesterday about how there were at least 2 traitors left in the game, and there had to be 2 traitors, and we only got 1 out. There has to be another one here. I want to ask Suri some questions. No one's put suspicion on you this whole time. Here are the things that are suspicious to me, and I would like to hear you explain them, and I think we need to go to a vote. At least try. Even if you get voted out there, you're going no matter what, because you have to know at this point, Suri is going to lead the vote to get you out. At least give it a try. At least give it a try.
Be like, why are you the only one throwing in a red beanbag chair?
That's what I wrote down.
Thank you.
I would have been like, what
Did
are
you say
you
a
alluding?
beanbag chair? Hold on.
Beanbag
down, I think.
I'm like, I'm just imagining Alan taking a big ass beanbag and throwing it into that fire pit.
But that, and also I would have been like, Suri, what are you alluding to when you're talking about like some people working hard for what are you working hard for?
Well,
like,
well, I have to
Big
say
question.
something about this.
Yes. Go ahead, Katie. Go.
That was clearly a Frankenbite. That was clearly taken from the voice completely changed. I'm very familiar with this from the challenge because they do this to TJ's voice all the time. It's like they make him go into like a booth or something and like repeat the rules, and it sounds completely different. And Suri is talking. Yeah. Suri is talking and she sounds like normal, and then it's like, And I don't know. People haven't earned it. And it just sounds totally different that I'm like, oh, this came from a confessional and not, she's not saying this in person. That's at least my read on it.
I noticed that they cut away from her. Like, I noticed
Yes, they didn't show her speaking.
But I will admit that, well, I stayed up and watched this after our last podcast. And I was just kind of like frustrated with everything at that point.
Yeah.
I was just kind of bewildered that even the couple sentences before that weird editing, they just didn't seem like a legit argument against him.
Yes.
And I was confused by the message Suri was trying to get across in this. Like, was she, because to me, Ari interpreted it as like, yeah, I sit on stacks of money at home. I don't need this cash. But it seemed like she was implying you came in 2 days ago into this role. You don't deserve it. And so there was even like mixed signals there. But
Like,
just
okay.
like how it was done. And then, yes, I also noticed that like it was like 3 sentences in. It's just like, this seems like it was not said in this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And so Ari and Quentin obviously vote green. We knew that was coming. We don't even need to talk about it. But, which again, doesn't make sense because, I'm sorry, I said Ari, I meant Andy. Andy was the one saying 2 days ago or yesterday or whatever, there's definitely 2 traitors left. There has to be at least 2. And they only got Christian out. Kate was not a traitor. So where is the math? Where is the math that you were just talking about yesterday? You said there has to be at least 2 and you only got 1. So that means there's 1 more left. But you still voted green. So I don't understand. You still wanted to end the game. You're not even thinking about what you said the day before. Make it make sense because it's not making sense to me. But regardless of that, Suri votes red to end the game. How is Ari not saying, like, why are you so convinced that there's a traitor left?
Exactly.
And what about you?
You just had to say something instead
anything,
of just giving them
anything.
like,
anything.
I also think for me, for like Andy and Quinton, a few episodes ago, first of all, people were talking about how there was probably a female traitor.
Yes,
like,
I noticed that too. Yep.
That was weird too. I don't know. Like, why would they think that they would only pick male traitors? I think I would think that's sus. Like, why would they only do that? I feel like that would also ring in my head, like, And they had that conversation, like Ari, Kyle, Stephanie, and someone else was in that room about how there's probably a female traitor from the celebrities. And it's like all these conversations these people have just like goes out their brain right away. And I don't know, it was just super frustrating to see Andy and Quinton not think, maybe Suri is the traitor. And then like Isaiah said, when Suri was the only one to pick the red bag, to me that's super sus as well. Like, what are you trying to do here? I thought we all thought we were faithful. Do you know something we don't?
Yep.
You know? So
Yep. I also wish, I mean, they vote out, well, they don't even vote out Ari. Ari quits. No. Ari literally is just like, I think I'm just going to quit, which is wild to me. When this was happening, I was like, wait, what? You're removing yourself from the competition because you have a family and a great business and life at home? So then why the fuck are you here? Why did you come here to begin with?
That's
why are you
the
here?
Part of like having rich people in this situation, because if that had been Christian instead of Ari, I think can you imagine what that argument is?
I would have rather seen it.
I'm now mad that Christian didn't make it to the final.
Yes.
I rescind everything I said about that before. We should have voted Ari out when we voted out Christian, and because there would have been so many beanbags being thrown into that fire. It'd create fireworks. Like, but he just walks off and quits. And I think the only thing that would make sense to me in why he did it, besides the fact of like, I'm rich, is he saw how the last vote went, and those 2 are not going to flip on Suri. He's heard it for how long from them? Like, it's 100% not Suri, 100%. Like, what is he going to say in that last moment besides like, why'd she throw in the red beanbag? That
just try and sow one seed of doubt. One seed.
I agree. It's just the only thing I think that makes sense in that moment. Outside of like, Ivore got money, I don't need this. Is like, why am I going to try and fight this? But yeah, obviously for TV, like, try something.
Yes. And I just want to read this comment from Muse too, is that his confessional right before quitting was weird because he said something like, I had to think quickly on my feet. And that's completely true. Like, he did say in his confessional, like, had to think quick here. And it's like, oh, I thought quick and I just quit. Actually, that was me thinking quickly on my feet. I just quit. Sorry, go ahead, Isaiah.
Now, to be fair, like I do feel bad for him to a very very small extent, because he was originally a traitor. Sorry, a faithful. So he played a majority of this game, uh, by like a specific strategy. So when you have to switch that up last second, he probably wasn't prepared for that. Like he's been honest this whole time, trying to stop the bad guys. Now you have to quickly flip to like playing this evil game. You just backstab Christian. Like he's only been there for like what 2 votes.
Yeah.
So it's like I get like not being able to stand in the pressure cooker, but the same thing is that he accepted it. So I don't feel too bad at the end of the day. And like I said, even if like you knew what you signed up for, you know what I'm saying? Do you not want this money? Like I feel like, and this is Cerise's miss, I feel like he probably thought of like Rachel a couple rounds ago, freaking out on people saying that this is on our friendship and stuff, and didn't want to lose another friend and really cherish Cerise's friendship. So that I feel like that's possibly why he dropped out, because he didn't want to lose a friend or hurt Cerise, and he probably felt like she needed the money more. She talked about her story with plenty of people and like definitely pulled on them heartstrings. You saw Shelby, people felt like crap voting her out. Like I feel like he just felt like crap. So that's probably why. But I'm still upset that he did it.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I said this a few episodes ago. I don't remember about who, but in the words of Spicy V, you signed up for this. Like,
yes.
And not only did he sign up for the show, he signed up to be a traitor. He could have easily said no and played as a faithful. So the moment he signed up as a traitor, more reason for you, like, bro, this is the gameplay you wanted. You wanted to be a traitor, so be a traitor. And yeah, it really ruined what could have been like an amazing finale to like a pretty lackluster social strategy aspect of the entire game. Like maybe Ari probably wouldn't have swayed anyone. But give me that good TV, give me that moment, and it was very frustrating to watch Ari just like throw in the towel like that. Especially like you said, Katie, like for most of the season, like I've been kind of like liking Ari. I was like, oh, he seems to have like a decent grasp on the game, blah 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 blah. And then he like ends on like a super low for me. Like like these games, I take these games so like these games look so enjoyable, and there's something that I would love to do one day. So to see someone like give up that opportunity is just super frustrating to me.
I also think this highlights just another reason that they did not need to force that recruitment in. I get that you want to show it's like a component of the game, but Christian and Cerise could have taken care of that end game without a third traitor. And especially Cerise could have taken care of that end game without adding in that third, or I guess technically fourth, but you know what I mean? Like this recruited traitor. And to me, that was like highlighted at this end game where it just seemed unnecessary, and especially for him to kind of just be like, "Yep, I'm done." It's like, why are you here in the first place?
Or do the recruitment earlier. Like we have been hearing that they were told between 2 and 5 traitors. They started with 3. Why not get a 4th traitor? And then, like, I think we were talking about this in maybe the last episode or the episode before. Maybe it would be interesting to see a group of 4 traitors and see if there are alliances that form within the traitors. And then we could see the traitors fighting it out with each other. Like, that could have made it much more interesting. But I think just generally, I feel bad for Cerise because she played masterfully as a traitor, but she was cast with a bunch of flops. So it makes Cerise's game look less impressive because everybody else was so bad at this. But she does deserve every prop that she gets because she's great. It's just like everybody else around her is terrible at this game. Or didn't take it seriously.
Casting did the show a huge disservice by putting both Cerise and Cody on the Traitors team.
Cody?
Hater. And it's like, yeah, I think Cerise is leagues ahead of these people, obviously, but the next closest adversary to her would be a Cody, and you giving her that, who, this guy's brain is loyalty. The moment that they were on a Traitors team together, I was like, the show is over, because it's like, you could have easily had like some sort of cat and mouse dynamic completely out the window. And there's something to say about like Cerise is coming in this game hungry for a win. She hasn't won anything. She's not leaving here without a win. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like Cody had that fire in Big Brother All Stars, which is why we saw him in a similar situation where he cut Nicole. That was Cerie's, Ari situation. Cody is already content with this story, so like he came in here for the money, and he came in here just to participate in another show. I'm sure if he didn't win All Stars, or if he never played in All Stars, he would have came in here with that same fire Cerie did, and would have been like guns blazing, like playing hard. But that's just not the case. You put in one of the potentially best reality TV competition people ever on the show with a bunch of people who are either not motivated or not at the same level strategically. And it was just like, the moment I saw this Traitors team, I was like, this is going to be a straight steamroll. Like, I was like, it's over. Yeah, it was fun, and I'm very happy that Cerie got her win. But I just like, I wish that there was some kind of pushback, because like I felt like this was like that Derek win, that Kim Spradlin win, where it's just like
doesn't feel earned, even though she was great, but it just doesn't feel, because I think, Isaiah, you said it earlier, she didn't face any adversity this entire season, so it's just like she just came in and she didn't have to do anything. Yeah. She just didn't have to do anything. And that's frustrating. Cerie is at her best when she has to do stuff. Like, that's why we love Cerie, because she's such an amazing strategist and she's so good at these games. And we saw her make a lot of really great personal relationships that led to her being able to win and to know these people. But I personally don't think it would have taken that much to know these people anyway. Just be like a genuine person like Cerie probably was. And that's kind of all it took. And I agree with you, Isaiah, 100%. As soon as I saw them tap Cody and Cerie, I was like, forget it. Like, they needed one strong, and I guess like you could say Rachel Riley and Stephanie are strong, but like, so I mean, we needed one of those two not on the Traitors team, in my opinion, for it to be at least a back and forth.
If Cerie was a traitor, a faithful, or if Cody was a faithful, one of them would have had the common sense to split up Rachel and Kate, and it would have been a whole different game. But like, they were both there, like, we're not going to take them out, let them fight every week. And it's just like, I was like, ugh, like, this is going to be so boring. Like, it was still fun to watch, and I still had a fun time. I just wish that there was someone on the faithfuls that had like that mind to like use common sense instead of being very emotional. Yeah. What are you going to do?
Totally agree.
I have to go back to the 4 traitors part. Australia's had 4 traitors. Just saying. I don't know how much more I have to hype it up. I feel like it's the underwatched one of the 3.
I didn't know that, Kari. Stop spoiling it for me.
It's not a spoiler. They tell you
a little bit of a spoiler.
In the first episode that there's 4 traitors. Like, it's like,
you didn't see the first episode yet.
Oh God, I ruined the whole thing.
I'm just saying.
That's not a spoiler. You literally, I didn't tell you who any of them are. I'm not going to argue if this is a spoiler or not.
I personally feel like that's a little bit of a spoiler, but it doesn't matter. This is the last podcast. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore.
They tell you that like 5 minutes into the first episode. So
if the first 5 minutes have been spoiled for me, then Kari, I'm just saying.
All right, I'll leave. I have homework to do anyway.
Don't leave.
I gotta go.
Leave. Don't leave. Don't leave, because we still have to talk about Andy and Quentin after Ari quits. I'm sorry, no one voted Ari out, saying there's no one else I would have rather split this money with. And Quentin goes right up to Cerie and gives her this big hug. Like, we did it. And I was like, oh man, these people are in for it, because she has to tell them that she's a traitor. And Andy was not happy. Quentin was just shocked, as he is the entire time, but Andy was just like in shambles. And when Cerie hugged Andy and was like, just know I love you, Andy. That's just remember that, okay? I was like, why don't you vote now to take out Cerie? She's basically telling you that she's a traitor. Vote her out. Vote her out.
Literally. So frustrating.
There's nothing more to say to that.
I have nothing else to say. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. The whole thing is rough. That's pretty much where we end. Cerie wins. They walk away. They go inside. I mean, Cerie is like, all my love for you is real. It's just I got voted in. I got chosen to be a traitor, and my only option was to play as a traitor or like leave and go home. So I had to do what I had to do. And Andy's just like, I've been trying to muster the courage to look you in the eye this whole time. I'm like, please, this is a fucking game. I know Andy is the one that was like, Rachel said this is a game, so like we have to vote Rachel out, because she said it was a game. So, but it's a game. It's a game. So I'm glad that Andy was able to find the courage to look Cerie in the eye and say, I don't hate you for playing the role of The Traitor, a show that we were all cast on with the equal opportunity to be chosen as a traitor. If Andy were a traitor, they would have hated themselves or just like quit the show, clearly. So, I mean, this is just a mess. But Alan does tell them they both played an amazing game. And I have a question for Alan is,
Why is he
show me
lying?
where. Yeah, show me where they played an amazing game. I want to know, sir.
That's
show
what
me.
I wrote. I wrote like, Alan, why are you lying to these people's face? They've been lied to all season, and then you
He
lie to
is
them
the
again.
host. Y'all are not going to drag Alan Cumming.
No, I'm dragging.
doing
Show
this
me.
job.
Point to me. Point to me
Drag.
where.
I
made
also
fun of his
said it.
Scottish
He
accent.
grew on me. He grew. I thought it was fake. Okay.
Well,
And then I looked at
okay,
these
I
interviews,
have to
was like, oh,
say,
okay. I was like, oops.
some of the things that he was saying sounded completely fabricated.
Mike
like where he said like
Castle.
burglar. Yeah, he said like something. I don't know. That was like burglar and then something else that he said. I was like, come on, he's putting that on. Yeah, murder. Whenever he says murder, I was like, that's a little over dramatized here. Dramatized.
If anything,
whatever.
like he has a pleasant Scottish accent in comparison to some of the heavier ones that it's all like throaty and you can't understand things. I will not impersonate the Scottish because I just don't do them justice, but some of them are
all
difficult.
you have to do is think of the girl from Brave and be like, if you could change your fate, would you? And then you'll be
Married
fine.
up.
Oh, I've never heard Isaiah do an accent before.
Yeah.
That was okay. I mean, like I grew up, my grandparents had the accent and like theirs was, I thought, not that heavy. And then like family would call on the phone and I'm like, what is this on here right now? Like I do not understand a word you're saying. Some of those accents are thick. His
Also,
was
I
like
think maybe we have justice for Isaiah
delightful.
here because Muse
I
tells
knew
us that
it!
Alan admitted to
I
hamming up his
knew it!
accent.
Everyone was on my back. I knew it. I'm just saying. I knew
Justice
it.
for
I
Isaiah.
knew it. I'm tired. I've been telling people. I knew it. She still grew on me as a host, but I knew it. I knew that.
No, he
that
was good.
accent was too good to be true. I knew it. It sounded fake a little bit, but I'm glad
It was
to see
exaggerated on some words
that.
for
Very.
sure.
theatrical.
Yes.
Camp was too high for some.
Yes,
times
it
for
was
me.
giving
I
a
was
lot
like,
of camp.
bruh. Breathe.
Camp energy. Yeah. Well, then here we are. This is it. We've reached the end of the Traitors US. Overall, where would you rate this out of, 1 to 10, 10 being the highest? Kari, let's start with you. Where do you rate it?
6 maybe.
Okay.
But like it's like a 5.8 that rounded up to a 6 because the teacher was nice and gave the 2 extra points or like the 0.2 points so they
the
wouldn't
teacher was like
fail.
Alan and just gave the extra money.
Like just round
Yeah.
things up. Like we're gonna make it a nice even number so you don't have to go to summer school for this. Like you passed. I think that there's a lot of room for improvement in the structure of the game when it comes to the challenges. And I think that while you had some outstanding individuals cast for this show, the ensemble didn't do it because there's just, again, like I said, let's host a game of Mafia for your final 100 people who might be on the show. Like break them up and let's see how they do because some of these people just don't have it in them to play the social strategy game. Interesting people, not interesting game players. And so I would love to see a stronger game cast than what we saw.
Yes, I agree across the board. Javier, how about you?
I would give it a 6.5.
Okay.
I really enjoyed Kate. I thought she was good TV. I really love seeing Sari for the first time. I haven't seen her on Survivor, so it was really great to see her game. So I'm excited to go back and watch her season of Survivor to see.
She's better on Survivor.
Yeah, hopefully she has more adversity there, and then I can really see her really strategize. But yeah, I get 6.5 because these people were just too dumb. It just took them way too long to ever find anything out. And like I've said this multiple times, it's just annoying that they would always they played the game for the traitors almost by getting out the people who would say something logical. The moment you said something logical, you'd be banished, not even murdered. So they just made it too easy for the traitors. So I hope if there's a season 2, we like break up, either just do all civilians or all celebrities, and make the challenges worth more. Like give me like powers or give me something, or like make the armory come in sooner. I don't know. Do something with the challenges as well. But I overall enjoyed it, but 6.5 definitely.
Isaiah, what's your rating?
So when Kari texted me asking what I rated, I said 7 originally, but I'm glad that I sat around with it for a little bit. I'm gonna give it a 6.5, kind of like Javier. It's cool. I think the concept of the show is dope. I think this is a good beginner season. I would like to see how a more dynamic cast looks next time. I think it's very top heavy, and most of the top heavy people are going very early. I feel like you know, the civilians are cool, but outside of Christian, none of them really stood out. And it was really carried by Sari, Cody, Rachel. The show introduced me to Kate, which Kate basically gave me everything that I wanted Rachel and Brandy to give me. So that was very exciting. I really enjoyed the mess that she gave me, but mess can only take you so far, and I like a balance of strategy and entertainment. So I hope next time they give us like Javier said, like all people from TV shows or all new people, any show. For some reason, these mixed casts just don't work out. I don't think I've ever seen a season where it's not like one side just like kind of running everything. So 6.5.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all great points. I would probably rate it lower at like a 5.5, just because I've seen a season of this show be really good. I know there's another season that's very highly rated that I have not yet seen. Obviously, this one is the bottom of the 3 versions of this. I think the celebrity casting and the civilian casting, like you guys said, it was a detriment to the show. I think having people, if you're going to get celebrities, let's like bring in all people from Bravo or all people from like something else where we don't have a Suri and a Cody that are highly strategic. I mean, Cody is strategic. I wouldn't say he's as strategic as Suri. Obviously, she's like a strategic mastermind. She's a legend on these shows. So it just automatic, and then making her a traitor just gives her an automatic advantage. And the show is too heavily weighted to give the traitors an advantage anyway, because there's really nothing to go off of. There's no clues. There's nothing. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of work that can be done. I hope next season is all civilians. I hope we find a cast that's really dynamic, that wants to play. And I think, Isaiah, you're right. Like, the mess delivered. If we didn't have Kate and Rachel on the season, what would we be watching?
It would be so much lower.
It would be horrible. It would be like almost unwatchable if we didn't have Kate and Rachel. Specifically Kate, like throwing money away and just
she wasn't even trying.
No, and like she just added like the comedic effect that we needed to keep us going, because otherwise we would have had nothing to watch and nothing to talk about. So I give it a 5.5. And I think, but I enjoyed it. Just because I give it a 5.5 doesn't mean I didn't enjoy watching it. But by the end, I was like, I'm just ready for this to be over. Because, like, clearly we know what's going to happen. So how do we get there? Let's talk about our dream casting. I like this idea. Let's go backwards. Isaiah, if you could pick like 1 or 2 people, if we had a celebrity season, who would you want to see?
2 people?
Well, however many you want. Just not like 30 people, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna just skim through. So I just have 4 sections because obviously they had like, I'll give you 4 people. There's because they have the Big Brother Survivor, and then there's like the wild cards. So I had a lot of people for Big Brother I would have liked, but I'm gonna go with either Tiffany or Kaser. That would be very fun. I would love to see Kaser in the show. For Survivor, I could either go problematic or I can be fun. So Sandra's my fun. Sarah Lacine is a cop, so that would be interesting.
Please,
and nobody likes Sarah. So, and then for my 2 wild cards, I had Julie Chen on here, but that's so unrealistic. So I'm gonna say.
Wait, I would love to see it though.
I would too. But I'm gonna say Shuby from The Circle, and either Tamar Braxton or Kenya Moore would be pretty fun. But those are my people.
Kari, you want to say something about Shuby? I saw your reaction.
Yeah, why? Like, what?
Why not?
What encourages that decision? Why not? Did you watch this season of The Circle?
It was a train wreck, yeah.
I just don't think that.
Listen, I don't watch TV just for social skills and strat. I need a mess too.
But I just don't think that he would be a mess in real life. I think that he's like too much of a kiss ass, and I think that
Every cast needs
he-
one.
no, they don't. Not this one at least. Like, why
I'm
waste?
okay with it.
I just
We
I
had
can't
we
agree.
had we sat with Christian this season. Okay.
Yeah, but he's not a reality TV personality prior to this experience.
Listen.
Or like we've gotten to see Shuby pretend to be someone else and be trash at it. Like, you think
Listen,
he's going to
let's
be
see.
good at this show?
Let's see Shuby interact with people on the other side of the screen in person this
That's
time.
what I'm saying.
I
Is
wanna
like
see
every
it.
time I've seen him interact with people, that especially like other people in the reality TV world, it's just, I mean, you saw him interact with Brett, right? From
He's a fan.
and he's just like, "Oh my God, you're
Yeah,
on
he's
Big
a
Brother."
fan.
Like, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. I do not
Listen,
need.
I'm with the cringe. Okay, we need the cringe. A little
Clearly,
cringe in
we
our
he
see
life.
your
gives cringe
sweatshirt,
energy.
So
We need a little cringe in our life. Okay, I like to cast different people. Be different. Everybody could just be like, "Oh, I know how to talk to people." No, let's get the like the I don't know what I'm doing vibes out there. But
yeah,
we've been on
worked
me
out
too
well
long
for
enough.
this.
Move on
Yeah,
from me.
let's
We're good.
Javier, who's your dream casting scenario?
Wait, I hadn't thought about this, so can we come back to me while I finish thinking? Because it seems like
Yes.
Kari thought about this too.
Oh, I
Yes.
didn't. I
Oh.
only because I saw a tweet and I sent that tweet to the person that I want to cast, which is Melissa Beck from Real World, and she did the Real World Homecoming. I DM'd her and Katie last night, being like, "I beg you have to do more reality TV, and this is it," because she would be perfect for this
Yeah, she
show.
would be great for this show.
Like, she is a clear-cut number one for me on this, and I think, Katie, you had a great point with Wes from the challenge. Bananas would be interesting. I don't know if I need more Bananas on my TV, but I still think he would be interesting in a situation like this. Cam from the challenge, I think, would also be great at this because
Yeah.
she is social, she's smart, and so those, I think, are three. I'm trying to think of like shows that are outside Survivor and Big Brother. Maybe from the Circle, I really liked Sammy from season 1, and I mean, my dream, I think, would be to get Manrika on here from the UK.
I was gonna say Manrika, actually.
I
Man's on my
love
list.
Manrika.
She was on my list.
She was amazing. I love her
Yeah.
so much.
Manrika's on my
Manrika,
list.
or even like Alex from season 1 when he played his girlfriend.
Yes, Alex is great.
I think that they would all be interesting on a show like this.
Yes, Manrika was a top choice for me. Javier, do you have some
Yes.
choices, or do you want me to go? Okay.
I have some choices. So first of all, I would love to see Davon on it because I love Davon on anything she's on.
Mhm.
That's my girl. I don't care how great or poorly she does.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
what I
she'll
want
be
on
such a traitor
any
act, but I'm
show.
okay with it.
Oh my god, I would love Davon on it. I agree. Wes from the challenge would be great. I also like Bananas, so I think Bananas would also be a good choice. From the Circle, I would love to see Delisa because that was my girl when she won. I loved her season of the
She's
Circle.
good.
She was
good.
so good, and I really liked her on the Circle. And then from Survivor, I would like to see Tasha. I love Tasha from Survivor. I've only watched like 5 seasons of Survivor, like random ones, and one of the ones I watched, she was on it, and I really liked her on it, and I think she has a lot to offer as well. So those will be some of my options.
Those are good choices. Isaiah, I love your Sandra choice. She would be my top Survivor pick. Just put Sandra on like any TV show and I'll watch it.
Yeah.
She just makes incredible television. From the Bravo sphere, I'm feeling like a Tom Sandoval. Give me like the explosive Tom Sandoval energy. He'll like yell at everybody at the table, especially if they like let him get coked out in the back, or like he's able to get, or like get on Adderall like he is on the show. No, but seriously, I think he would be pretty entertaining. He's a mess. I think Manrika for sure was on my list. In terms of other Bravo people, give me a Lisa Rinna. If we want I hate Lisa Rinna. I hate
Carrie's
Lisa Rinna.
so
Is this
funny.
a sign that you've been kidnapped? Where are,
No,
like,
I mean, I hate Lisa Rinna.
that's why I'm concerned.
But think
Lances,
about
are you in
her
the
on
chat?
this
Can you
show.
come in and make sure that like Katie's okay?
No, it's
'Cause
me. It's me. I promise. I'm here.
I'm not convinced.
It's glances in a Katie suit. No, I don't know. I think Lisa Rinna would give us like the mess that we need, and I think she would actually take it seriously. She takes her jobs pretty seriously, as we've seen. So I would like to see her maybe. From Big Brother, I don't know that I need anyone else from Big Brother. I like the Kaser pick. I think he's a good pick. Maybe like Eric Stein, but I don't think he would ever
I was
be
going to
chosen.
say
He's
Janelle
like,
too would be funny.
I was
Janelle.
thinking Janelle, but like I just feel like we've seen all the Snake in the Grass people already. She was already on.
Oh, see, I didn't watch that.
Yeah, she was on the episode with Suri and Stephanie and Rachel. And I had one more that I lost.
While you're thinking,
Yeah.
I
You
would
know who
throw
else?
Tyson into the mix.
Yeah. Okay. No, Tyson is a great pick. Tyson is a great pick. And Javier not feeling it.
I'm
Not
not.
a
I don't
Tyson
like
fan.
Tyson.
You
I didn't
don't
like
like-
him. I
you
didn't watch the
like-
Survivor season, but I didn't like him on the
You didn't like
challenge.
him on the challenge.
Oh, I thought
Actually-
he was hilarious on the challenge.
The messy Big Brother person I want to see is Kylan. I think Kylan.
I
would
put
be a
him on my
mess.
list. I
Kylan
put him on my list.
Kylan would be a mess on this, and I would actually really like to see it.
Yeah.
And
That would be good.
someone else I hate on their show, who I think would be entertaining on this show, and Kari, you're going to question me again, is Devin from the challenge. Give me Devin as a traitor
no,
and the
Devin's
chaotic
He would
energy.
be so good at this.
Yeah,
but
I
again,
hate
I'm just
Devin.
concerned for
I know.
real
I need a
Katie's
wellness check. I
well-being,
need a
because
wellness check.
whoever, is someone holding you hostage? Is there do you need?
Help me. No, really, I just think a Devin would be a good traitor. Like, imagine we see him in the interrogations on the challenge, and he's funny, and I think funny, but I think he would give good energy at the round tables.
Yeah,
He was
those
the
are the people I would
brains
like
on
to
Are
see.
You the One? He was very smart.
Yeah, I think he might be good. So that's it. I mean, hopefully we don't have celebrities on the next season, but I would like to see some challenge people in the mix. Also, Nelson. Love of my
No.
life, Nelson. Give me Nelson. How dumb would Nelson be on this show? It would be
I
incredible. It
love
would be
Nelson.
comedic gold. I love
think
Nelson so
I
much.
love Nelson.
I
He's
love
not great at
Nelson.
the challenge, but he's just like a nice guy. Like he just seems like a nice guy.
he's
to me.
not a nice guy.
He's just there for the ride, you know. He's not there to win. He's just there for the ride.
Yeah, he's simple.
Exactly.
That's all we need.
I'll take Brittany from Big Brother as well. By the way, she'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know
Yeah.
who I didn't mention? The queen of reality TV, Tiffany New York Pollard. She would be amazing.
Oh,
to
She
do.
would
talk about
never come on
She
the
would
show.
be terrible at
Why?
this. I
I
just
think she
remembered her
would.
on Celebrity Big Brother. She was the standout on the
Yeah.
UK Celebrity Big
We
She's an
Brother.
already saw
icon.
the celebrities on this season. She's not coming on here. Okay?
She's an icon.
She
If
would
they
never,
can't get
but-
her for Big Brother, they're not going to get her for this.
Oh no, they would never.
Just
But
don't
man,
think
will
they
she be
tried hard
amazing
enough.
on anything she does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just know what's his name that everybody hates. Then they live at his house. I already forgot his name.
Todrick
From-
Hall.
Todrick
Yeah, thank
Hall.
you.
I will
Todrick
take
Hall.
Todrick Hall. I would take him on this.
Isaiah
done
really
with
just likes
Todrick
mess.
Hall.
Isaiah just likes mess. It's official.
He would be
This
so
is
freaking
Todrick
annoying
is
on
not
this
fun
show, bro.
mess though. He's
It's
annoying.
okay. I'm okay
No
with it.
Cynthia Bailey. She put me to sleep on Big Brother.
She was horrible.
Yeah, nobody from this most recent cast. Maybe Chris Kirkpatrick. But all right, let's cover our draft, and we'll show you guys where we ended up
The
here.
winner. Who won? Dun, dun, dun.
I wonder who
Who
cheated their way to a win.
Isaiah, for the last
time.
For the last time, I know you don't
Crazy.
understand the concept of the term middle. You never would have got Suri because if we didn't flop it, Josh would have gotten him. You never were getting her. The fact
Yeah, Josh would
that
have had
Javier didn't take Suri and took whoever instead, that's really that's the Andy move of the draft right there.
We got
quit into
lucky.
that.
We got lucky because Javier doesn't have a familiar.
Listen, Rachel
Yeah.
being first pick is blasphemous. I'm just being honest.
I agree with that.
Like that was
No shade to
crazy.
Josh. We love you, Josh, but
All shade. Okay, that was wild. That was wild.
yeah. Well, this is where we ended in the last episode. Ari has been again. We have an Amanda who
Yeah.
she had to leave. Also, any news on Amanda? Has anybody heard? Is she still with us? Is she
Haven't
okay?
looked.
I don't know. I guess we'll put him in murder or banished. I guess because he would have been banished
Banish
anyway.
is probably more likely to be accurate.
Kate was banished. I guess Andy was banished. They're just these people are just. We should make a loser column.
Yeah, Andy just walked away with Quentin's arm around them.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. The winner. Kari was out. She was down bad at the beginning of this draft.
Oh,
and she stood strong. She stood strong with Suri. We
I
have our
had
winner.
one person left for the last 7 episodes of this
Yeah.
series.
Yep.
There's only 10.
Yeah.
So I thought I was a goner.
Valencia's asking if Javier is the Andy of the podcast.
At least of the draft. At least of the
At least
draft.
of the draft, yeah.
I just made this is what altruism does to you guys. You can't be too nice sometimes. I should have just taken her.
Yeah.
Who did you take instead?
Stephanie.
Oh.
Stephanie.
Ciao.
Yeah.
But never again in a draft. If I have the opportunity to take the most talented person, I'm gonna take them every time.
Wow, what a
learned my lesson.
concept. Where did you learn that from? That's like a hidden
Altruism.
strategy, I think.
Well, Kari has been going strong on hating drafts. This is the first draft you ever did, right? And you won?
Yeah, I fucking hate them.
Yeah. You hate fantasy
Isaiah
sports, you're
asked
competitive,
me to do
and you
one for
won.
the challenge, and I was like, 1, I read spoilers.
Yeah.
2, I hate drafts, so no.
Yeah. Well, here we are. Kari's the winner. Cerie's the winner. We're all winners because we got to talk about this show together. Do we have any final thoughts about the Traitors, about this podcast, about the draft, about anything at all you guys want to talk about before we close out for our last
Pressure cooker
episode?
better. Pressure cooker better.
Yeah, Tito, shout out to Tito, fellow silent podcaster, shared that sentiment in our team Slack, in our podcaster Slack. And I said to him I didn't disagree. I disagree for the UK, but for this, pressure cooker is a little better. Give us Gina. Put Gina on the show.
I was waiting
She was
for
on my
one of you to
list
say
too.
that.
She was on my list.
Yeah.
I will say though, in a time where there's no Big Brother or Survivor to be watched, I'm very glad that I was pushed out of my comfort zone to watch Pressure Cooker and the Traitors, and I'm very happy. So I will be a returner for the Traitors if it's renewed. Obviously, I saw that.
Sure.
I think a channel was trying to buy it out. I don't know if it's going to stay on
BBC.
Peacock or not. I hope it stays on Peacock though. But
Well,
I mean,
BBC is not in this country, so they bought the rights to the US one to show it.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
But not so like that's all it was. It's not that
Okay.
they're taking it off of Peacock.
Got
When
it.
the show was airing in the UK, it started, I think it had a little bit of a slow start, but then it became like a huge hit because, I mean, the product that they gave was great. I think this show also is generating a ton of buzz. And I think what they did, I think was smart. I don't think it worked out in the execution of the show, but it got Bravo people watching. Like, huge Bravo accounts are tweeting about this. Everybody loves Kate Chastain now. People are going to be watching Below Deck that didn't know her before. Like, it generated the buzz I think they wanted it to generate. I just kind of hope that it's not like, okay, we have to do half celebrity, half civilian moving forward. Just like give us one or the other. It doesn't need to be this way. But I'm ready. I'm ready for another
UK
season.
showed you can cast a diverse group of people who have never been on television before and get a good product.
Yes. A bunch of them played Among Us on Twitch with each other yesterday.
Oh, really?
Or today. One of them, yeah.
Did they get Andrea on there?
I don't know.
Okay. I would just like to see her
I don't think
navigate
so. I don't
Among
think so.
Us is
I
really
don't think
why I
so.
asked that.
Shout out to Andrea. How old is she? 72?
That's a spoiler, Katie. So
That's not a spoiler, Carrie. Knowing how many Traitors on a show is a spoiler. Knowing
No,
that there's a
it's
72-year-old
not.
woman on the
No,
show
it's
is not a spoiler.
No, it's not.
right.
Literally, they tell you in the first episode.
Things that happen in the first episode can still be spoiled. I'm just saying.
I am disagreeing. But
Right.
in conclusion, she was 76.
Ask the friend, 76, thank you. Ask the friend that you made who reached out to you about spoilers if she
Oh,
considers
this
that a
person-
spoiler.
Oh, I will. I'll
Yeah,
ask
I'm
her.
curious her opinion. All right, we will close out here. It's been really fun covering this with you guys. It's been a fun watching and viewing experience. I'm glad none of us got spoiled for the winner. Did you guys get spoiled, Kari, Javier? No?
Nope.
Amazing.
I saw some
Great work.
stuff that kind of implied that if I didn't know basically if Cerie won by herself or
Okay.
with another traitor, but there was stuff that I saw that gave me the inclination that she won. I just didn't know if it was on her own.
What I saw was actually Isaiah's tweet. I had to mute Isaiah because he tweeted a picture of Andy and Quentin.
Yes.
And he didn't spoil anything really, but he just said how terrible they were at the game. I was like, wait, I need to mute him. That was the
I
only
told
spoil.
everybody. I said Sunday is raps. So
And then I muted Isaiah until
hashtag.
like yesterday.
I warned. I don't hashtag. I tried that. I just don't. Look. Sorry.
We're just a bunch of menaces. That's basically all we have to say here. But all right, well, we'll close out. Kari, where can everybody find you?
Going to bed.
Don't look for Kari in her bed. That would be weird.
Yeah, don't find me. But online, I'll be going public again soon because your girl got the
Yay.
job offer today.
Congrats.
Woo-hoo.
Yay, it's official.
It's official. So those of you who are angry at me, you can now be angry at me publicly at KGD26. Otherwise, I'll be podcasting with Katie about the challenge as well as Real Housewives. And then Sunday night, we got a podcast set up with Alex from last season of The Circle, aka Nate, as well as Josie, to talk about this past season of this most recent season of The Circle. It just ended on Wednesday. So if you're planning on catching up and want to hear, I think we're going to talk like small picture, big picture, medium picture overall. So there will be previous seasons spoken about, spoilers. So if you come at me being like, how dare you spoil season 1 that aired 4 years ago, I will politely tell you to suck my dick from the back. Just giving you the heads up now.
Well, you've been warned, okay? You've been warned. Javier, where can everybody find you?
Damn.
Isaiah's clutching his pearls.
How can I follow up with that? Jesus
I don't know.
Christ.
I don't know.
All right. So, yeah, I've had a really fun time podcasting about this with Katie and Kari. Was an enjoyable experience. Catch me on Twitter at _the_starboy. I'm going to watch the UK and the Australian version, so I'll probably be tweeting about those. So if you want to hear my opinions on those, follow me there. And who knows? I'll be back on Silent Podcast soon. I don't know where, but you'll see me soon.
Yes, can't wait. And I'm excited to hear your thoughts on the other seasons, especially having this one be your first. Isaiah, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at 8 Ball Bangers on all platforms in multiple podcasts here. I'm going to be covering Big Brother 11 for my review series on Sunday.
We did that already.
Big Brother Celebrity Seasons 1, 2, and 3 on Sunday with some cookout sidebar people, so that should be fun. You should also check out the pressure cooker interviews that I have coming out this weekend. I have 3 of the players, including the winner, coming on. They hit me up and they said, let's do it. It's going to be cool. And yeah, you should just check out anything else that I got coming up. Big Brother Canada is coming up in March. And speaking of the Traitors, I wanted to do a silent podcast mini, and I actually had someone make a game for me. They just got back to me today. So if I can, I'm going to try to make an edited series or something, if I can make it happen. I don't know. It's so early, but if you want to see silent podcast people play the Traitors, look out for that.
Will I get paid?
I don't know. We'll see. Do you want to get paid?
Yeah. We don't do free work in 2023.
All right, bet. I got you.
Give me that contract.
Amazing. Well, that'll be fun. Cool. Well, you can find me on Twitter at RealSlimKatie. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RealSlimKatie with an underscore. Now that we are done with this coverage, I will be back on Twitch. It's been a minute, but this took up all my time over the last week, which has been great. It's been a lot of fun. I've also been podcasting with Jason for the first 2 recaps of Pressure Cooker here on Silent Podcast. So that was super fun. I know he's doing some other episodes with some other folks as well. So check that out. I know we keep plugging Pressure Cooker, but it's a great show. And as Isaiah said, it's kind of better than the season of the Traitors. It's a lot of fun. So check it out. It's an easy watch. You can also, not sponsored by them, but it's just a good show. You can also find Kari and I, as she mentioned, on TJ Hates Quitters Talking the Challenge, on the Cool Water Show Talking the Real Housewives, and Isaiah. I was just with Isaiah and Josie talking Big Brother 11. I'm super excited for Big Brother Canada coming back up. And I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else. So as if that's not enough, you can also find us here on Silent Podcasts. Anywhere you listen to your podcasts, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, all the other apps. Please leave us a rating or a review if you heard something that you think was worthy of your 5-star review. You only get 1 rating, so definitely save it until you hear something that's 5 stars. It helps us get discovered and all that good stuff. You can find us on Twitch. We stream a lot of our stuff live on. You could just search us there, Silent Podcasts. You can search us also on YouTube at Silent Podcasts and subscribe. And you can find us on Twitter at silent_podcasts to keep up with everything that we are doing and find out when we go live and all that great stuff. I hit the wrong button and I can't find it. Okay, now we're back. That's it. This closes it out for us. It's been super fun to cover the show with you guys. I'm excited for more seasons of this show to come. And until next time that we'll have something to talk about, we will see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.